This is my channel called Life Before the Womb, and this channel is about fertility. It's also about non-toxic living and pretty much trying to learn a couple things here and there. You don't have to be a female to learn about new things about your body and whatnot. You can also be a male as well, or if you're just someone who's curious, by all means, this is an educational channel. Not that I am a professor or anything like that. I'm just a woman who's also on this journey learning. So we are learning together. One of the things I want to talk about today in this video is this book called Taking Charge of Your Fertility. It's definitely something other than just fertility, but it does really base itself on that for the most part. But it is a good read one way or another, whether or not you are trying to conceive or whether or not you're trying to learn more. Either way, it's a great book. Highly recommend it if you're on this journey. So one of the first things I want to talk about is on page 106. And on 106, it's talking about observing your cervical fluid or mucus, as it's also called. And what this does, you can start checking this right after menstruation. So, what this is that all these different sensations are different phases throughout the cycle whenever it's changing. So, after you just end your period, you're gonna have a dry sensation during that first part, and then after it will gradually become sticky and then wet or even lubricant. And what that means is when you're close to ovulation. So in the beginning, you're obviously going to be dry because your period just ended and you're not ovulating anytime soon. So as you focus on these different sensations, you can also figure out where you are in your um, cycles, like in during your phases before ovulation. And then once we kind of get to the wet sensation, that's when you are pretty much ovulating or you're about to ovulate. So these are very important, especially if you're trying to conceive and you're having trouble conceiving, because sometimes you could be hitting the mark by, having intercourse during the dry phase or the sticky phase. I mean, sticky phase is not too bad, but it's not where you want to be. You kind of want to be somewhere near the wet phase or the lubricative phase. So once you kind of figure out where you are in your cycle or in your phase, then you can start trying to conceive, and then hopefully you can get really good results from there. So that's what this whole cervical fluid is about, checking that out. You want to check it at least 3 times a day. Keyword at least 3 times a day. So it doesn't necessarily mean you have to, but it's a good thing to try and check it at least 3 times a day. It's very good to read and try to figure out where you are and see when the best time is to conceive or not to conceive. So that's what this one's all about. That's what cervical fluid is all about. There's more details in the book. Highly recommend it. Get it on Amazon or get it at your local bookstore. I have no idea if it is. I would just buy it off Amazon. So the other thing I want to talk about is identifying your peak day. So your peak day is pretty much what you're thinking it is. Like, it's right when you're about to ovulate. Actually, in the book it says your peak day is the last day of either egg white or lubricative vaginal sensation. So pretty much what I was just talking about. It's the last day of the wet phase, so you want to definitely put that in. And then as you kind of chart your whole cervical fluid or mucus, you start to learn more about your body and you learn when you're about to have your peak day and whatnot. So these are really great. And it also tells you how to chart. It's all in the book and it shows it all here. You can even go online, like on their website, but it's all there. And it's great. They even have an app which I use, so it's definitely something to look into if you're trying to conceive or not conceive. So it's up to you. So another thing I want to talk about is on page 108, and that is taking your temperature. So what I mean is taking your waking temperature, not your just middle of the day temperature, not your at the end of the night temperature. It's your waking temperature. And what this indicates is that when you are trying to conceive, and let's say you did everything right, let's say you've had intercourse when you're about to ovulate, during the times before ovulation or before your intercourse, you'll see that your body temperature it shifts. It's going to shift Sometimes when you take it later on in the day, it's going to be warmer, so you want to take it at the same time every day. And it's very, very important to take this at the same time every day. You don't want to take it 2 hours later or 2 hours before. At least give it an hour, like an hour buffer, to kind of have, like, consistency. You've had intercourse and whatnot, and you've conceived, as your body temperature rises, and you'll see it when you're pregnant, you'll see the body temperature go up and up and up and up and up, and then just stay there. And if it stays there for consistent, like, until day 18, if it stays consistent until day 18, that's when you want to take a pregnancy test, and that will show you that you are in fact pregnant, and you'll have a more accurate time frame of when your due date is. And a good thing about this whole temperature taking, you continue on taking your temperature even throughout your pregnancy, especially in the early phases of your pregnancy, only because even though you hit that high peak where your body temperature is pretty high and it stays there until day, like, cycle 18 or day 18, what can happen is that after day 18, if you see that your body temperature is starting to shift downwards, that means you're going to have a miscarry. You can see it coming and try to prevent it if you can. Again, I'm not a doctor on this, I'm just learning as you are learning. So, but this is what's important about taking your temperature at the same time every day, even after conceiving, and keeping it up just to make sure that everything is all good, especially in the first trimester of your pregnancy. So the first layer is definitely checking your cervical fluid or mucus, and then the temperature. Another one is actually observing your cervix. So this is the one where you kind of have to kind of go in there, and what you're going to try and look for is eh, it's a sensation that kind of feels, it depends on where you are in your cycles, but it's a sensation that kind of feels either like your lips or hard as your nose, like the tip of your nose. So this is just one of the other layers. You don't have to do all three. You can definitely do 2 out of 3, but if you wanted to, if you want to go that deep into it, you can definitely check all three. It says the most effective position is squatting and kind of leaning a little bit forward. That's kind of how I learned to do it. It's squat and then lean a little bit forward. You don't want to go too far, but you want to go kind of in a comfortable position. Remember the mnemonic show s, when it talks about softness, like firm or soft, height, opening, wetness. So those are different sensations throughout the phase, your cycle, and whatnot. When it comes to, like, charting your cervix, they have a little bit of an example. Again, this book is great to kind of go into more detail. uh, the cervix will progress from low, closed, firm before ovulation to high, open, and soft around ovulation. So that's as close as I'm going to kind of give you a visual without actually showing you the visual. When it's low, closed, and firm, it means that you're either about to pretty much have your period, like your period's about to show, or you just got over it. You just got over your period. And when you're charting these things down, like when you're charting the temperature and you're charting the cervical mucus, and then you're also charting the cervix, if you're doing all three, when it's firm, low, and closed, like it's not time for ovulation. But as we gradually get closer and closer to ovulation, you're going to see, like, where it's midway, partially open, and medium. That means we're getting closer. And you'll also see the mucus that it's going to change during that time too. So when you're in the firm set side, it's going to be dry. And then once it's high, open, and soft, that usually means that ovulation is right around the corner, and it's a perfect time to try for a child if that's what you're trying to go for. And let me tell you, there's so much information that this would become like a video essay or something if I had to go into this. You want to be a sponge when you're reading this book because it's so great. And I learned a lot from this. I learned a lot. Like, I didn't know about a couple things about my own body, and I've been living on this earth for 26 years. So it's really, really great. And I also want to give you a little fun fact is that ovulation does not happen on day 14 like so many doctors want to make you believe it does. It actually It's actually different for every woman, and depending on when your cycle is, like how long your cycle is, like if you're a 28 day or if you're like a 31-day type of gal, give or take, it's going to come out on different days. Like I actually learned that I kind of ovulate around day 16, 17, and I have a 28-day cycle. Usually a traditional cycle would be 28 days and you ovulate on day 14. That's what they want you to believe, but again, doesn't always happen. So take it as you will. And every cycle is different, not everyone is the same. It also helps, like if you have some kind of like issue going on with your cycle, like you notice that you actually bleed longer than 7 days or you bleed less than 7 days, it actually goes into detail what some of these things might be. And I really, really recommend looking into it. It's self-diagnose. It's like Googling your headache and then Google saying that you're about to die. It's good to go off on, but you want to talk to a doctor about your cycles. Final notes, get this book, get it off Amazon. I bought it off Amazon, came in like a couple of days, and it was great. It's one of the best things ever. So, this is me signing off. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not anything like that. I'm just learning the same time as you. So, take what you will with this, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye now.